What's up, everybody?
What's up?
We are doing our podcast again.
I know. It's a fun one this week because it's like a remote one.
Yeah, this is our first actual remote
No, it's not.
podcast. Well, with video and
With
everything.
video,
Like,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And we couldn't be more happy to have this be like the
Yeah.
one that breaks us in. So we love Markham Vineyard wines. And it is an honor to have the winemaker herself,
Yes.
Kim Nicholls.
Kim.
Hi there,
Welcome.
I'd rather be remote and be in Nashville. That is a city I love.
Yeah, have you been here before?
There maybe 4 times now. So about every 2 years. About every 2 years.
Okay. And what do you come to town for?
To have a good time.
Yeah.
To buy,
have you ever been on?
foods?
Have you ever been on one of the party buses and
no,
stuff?
I don't do that.
No?
No, I mean, I come to buy cowboy boots. The last time I was in town, I can't remember where I went, but me and 2 of my girlfriends, we went in, and the gentleman literally knew what each boot that we were wearing was, and we all walked out with new boots.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a good time.
That's cool. Well, now that COVID's open, it's done with, and the cities are opening up, a lot of winemakers and stuff are coming to Nashville to do dinners and everything like that. So maybe one day you'll come back and do something here.
Definitely come back. And one of the best meals that I had when I was in Nashville was we went to Catbird Seed, and it really was one of the best meals of my life.
Wow, I'm jealous. I still haven't done that, but the people that do it say it's just it's incredible.
So good. Yeah, it was fun.
That's great. So we want to dive into you and your story, Kim. Why don't you just tell us how you got into the wine industry and what you love about wine and how you ended up at Markham?
Yeah, well, I think that you'll find the more winemakers that you talk to, that you will probably see that everyone was kind of maybe headed down a medical path. And my path, I had an uncle who was a dentist, and I thought he was amazing, and I wanted to take after him. So that's really what I was doing. And then I realized chemistry is not really my bag, not really great at that. So maybe I could, maybe not be a full medical doctor, but my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, certainly was, you could always get into the wine industry because he grew up around here. And I will say that a couple of weekends ago, we just celebrated our 34th wedding anniversary. So
congratulations.
And, I've been here at Markham for 30 years now. So I started in the lab, and then I worked my way up to winemaker in 2001. But in June, 30 years ago, I started here at Markham. So I've been here ever since. I love our vineyard sourcing here at the winery. We've got 260 acres of sustainable land that we farm. So it's a pretty cool and interesting job for sure.
What are some of the biggest challenges you think with winemaking, being a winemaker?
Well, I think, in the beginning, it's, you're one of the few women, although, being a woman, I know way more women who are winemakers, I feel like, than necessarily I know male winemakers, because we do stick together. And, so in the beginning, some of those things are am I having difficulty, getting through just because I'm female, or is it because I didn't go to UC Davis, so I'm wondering if that was part of it. But still to this day, I see some of that as far as when I go to a tasting, if my husband goes with me and I stand behind a table, people will come up and ask him about the wine. And he will literally just turn to me and goes, well, you should ask my wife because she's the winemaker. So, it's those kind of things. But I think it's certainly made me a better businesswoman, because I am not afraid to ask for what I want.
So you said there's 250 acres.
Yes.
Right? And it's sustainably farmed.
So about about 15 years ago, we started under not understanding. We knew before then, but we went through the process to certify all of our vineyards that we own be sustainable. So that's not using anything bad, not using any Roundup all over the place. So we're trying to not disc everything all the time, managing our water usage, all of these types of things. And then about a decade ago, the winery itself, which was built in 1879, it is nearly
Oh, wow.
150 years old. So we got our green certification here at the winery, and we're very proud of all the work that we do to maintain that. And we've just recently changed to the California Sustainable Wine Alliance. So a process that we have to go through every year to better ourselves, both in the vineyards and here at the winery.
What are like the qualifications to get to do that every year?
It is really there is so many things that you can do. Sometimes they're the big things you talk about, like solar panels or something like that. But within the winery, it could be as simple as just putting automatic light switches on so that they go off, and we did that a long time ago. So it's just a matter of doing more and more and more things, both for the vineyards and here at the winery as well. So a lot of our packaging, like I have a bottle sitting on my desk here of Chardonnay, but all of it's empty. But all of we try to use like kind of a mid-weight bottle, so we're not using super heavy glass on the wine that we ship around the country. And that allows us to like keep 1 million bottles from going into the landfill every year, just on saving that extra 100 grams of weight. Using locally produced product and not shipping in glass from China, or the corks are shipped in raw from Portugal or Spain, but that's a small amount of my packaging.
So we opened up the Merlot,
my favorite.
and that's what we found out after diving down the Markham rabbit hole, that you guys are known for your Merlot.
Because we first tried it, TJ, he's a GM at a wine bar here, and they brought Markham into the wine bar, and I tried it, and literally it's like I order the cab like almost every time I go. I mean, now I'm going to be transitioning a little bit more into like whites and rosés and such, but all this last winter, I mean, I was just like, I love this wine. And I would even, like just get other people to come try it. And they were all like, this wine just tastes like such an expensive, like good wine, And so then when we found out about the Merlot, it's like, oh, that's really cool. Cause I'm like, they're really known for the Merlot, but I fell in love with the cab. So
yeah. So how long has the vineyard been producing Merlot?
And we haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, we haven't tried it yet. We've been waiting for you. So
the winery's been producing Merlot since 1980. So I think we were the fourth producer of Merlot here in Napa Valley. So the wine that you have in front of you is probably our 40th bottling. And so, for a little bit, have you been out to Napa before? Okay. So
No.
Napa's kind of a long, skinny valley. And at the north end, you have Calistoga. And at the south end, you have the town of Napa down and that touches the San Francisco Bay, the San Pablo Bay, is the Carneros region. So if I get Merlot from down in Carneros, to me, it tastes very kind of like zippy, like almost an underripe raspberry, very bright. And then as I move up valley, so if you just think about the fog that comes in and off the San Francisco Bay, you're going to see more cooling about halfway up the valley, which is Yountville. But for me, the flavor profile in Merlot kind of changes, and it changes to like kind of a sour pie cherry, into a Bing cherry, into a cassis or plum flavors, all the way up to blackberry and currants as you get up into Calistoga, just due to that 10-degree temperature fluctuation in the ripening. But lucky that we've been making Merlot for so long, because, Merlot does tend to be a very large cluster with a little bit larger berry. And so, we've been making it for a long time, and it can be a little bit finicky to grow out in the vineyard. And as well as, you really want to make sure that sunlight gets all the way around the berry. So you have to make sure that you pull leaves and let sun get in there, because otherwise it's going to have, green characteristics that I think people don't like about Merlot. So when you find a good one, you know where to stay. So taste it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Okay.
we're gonna taste it.
Yay.
Well, and while we taste it,
So I think you should get like some really cherry berry pie sort of characteristics. You might get a little bit of, kind of that the oak component that might even give you like a nutmeg coffee cake characteristic. Maybe a
Wow, this is so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were looking at all the varietals that kind of support the Merlot blend in this, and you can really tell that they add a lot to the structure of it. It's really, I love this Merlot.
It's so good.
So
I'm glad I waited.
It gets really fleshy, and I think Merlot is just a sexy varietal where Cabernet can be sometimes a little bit hard. Merlot is she's your girlfriend. She's so fun.
So this is so good, and so I want to ask you. I'm sure you have insight into this because obviously you know about Sideways and Merlot and it getting a bad rep and all of this. I mean, I think a big part of that is because people have had such, pardon my language, shitty Merlot. I mean, I know that I've had shitty Merlot when you go out to like a restaurant and you're just like, you order it and it's like, you can just tell like it's not well made. I don't know, but this is like fabulous. This puts a lot of other Merlot I've had to like complete shame. And I think people gave up on Merlot because of the bad rep, but it's like, well, this is incredible. If people were to drink this, I think they'd be like, oh, I actually really like Merlot. I think a lot of people just haven't tried the good stuff, or in recent years, I know it's really kind of making a comeback from what we've talked to winemakers about. Cause it's one of the most widely used grapes in the wine industry.
A lot of areas of the world, not just, here in Napa.
Yeah.
Merlot is a great drinking wine. It's a great food wine. It goes with such a wide variety of food. And being that we've been making it for 40 years, we have a loyal clientele that follows us. And so, none of that ever affected our brand. So,
See, because it's so good.
Thank you.
Well, that was my question: is how did you guys survive when Merlot was tanking and nobody wanted to drink Merlot?
Yeah,
you guys kept growing it and producing it. Like, what was that like?
I just anytime anyone like would bring that up, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about because we don't have that problem here. We're just making. Wow. We know what we're doing. And, if you know how to grow it and you know how to, work with it when it comes in, then it makes your job a lot easier, especially when you have as amazing vineyards as we have, kind of located up and down the valley. And, when I first got into the wine industry, it seemed like we were kind of, the valley was starting to be replanted at that point. And it was getting the right varietals in the right location. So, if you you think about it, you have a garden at home, I'm sure. And so therefore, you know that you want your tomatoes to be in a certain location because they're going to do better. They're going to get more sunlight, or, they're going to have, a more moisture in the ground. So it's kind of the same with a wine grape. You kind of want to pair what you're trying to do with where you're going to plant it in the ground. And so that's something that I think we have a leg up on growing Merlot for sure.
Wow. It's incredible.
It is really incredible. I love all the structure to it. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of structure. This wine does. There's a lot going on with it. like you go on this ride with
and
it.
that's kind of
I
the
really
fun
like
thing I
it.
think about wine is, not only, especially, and I encourage people, when you open a bottle of wine, even if you're a novice, to really, like, if you have someone that you can discuss it with. So, because we all smell things differently, and just because I say cherry doesn't mean
Hmm.
that's what you're going to smell. And, as a winemaker, I get asked to write tasting notes on my wines all of the time. And I'm like, well, it's kind of
Yeah.
like a personal thing of how I think it is. But the more that you can talk, maybe my cherry is your cranberry. And, so there are different things. And if you just, when you open a bottle of wine, if you can, talk about it for 30 or 60 seconds, you in and of itself, you will become a better taster because you'll hear that, exactly what I said, that your cherry is the next person's strawberry, which is the other person's, raspberry. And, then you'll find out what that person likes. So when you have a bottle of wine, I know what you're going to like because I had one the other day. And so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're saying that there's not just like one, like, set in stone, right, kind of way to answer, how the wine smells. It's like
no.
it can be
And
different
I
for
think
different
that that's
people.
what it
Yeah.
makes wine like the most, um, it's what scares people when they want to talk about wine with you is they feel like there's a right or wrong answer. And I felt that way because I didn't go to Davis. I certainly felt like I need to know exactly how to, describe this bottle of wine. But then you realize soon enough that we all taste things differently. So even with my team, I have an all female winemaking team here at the winery, and when I taste together with them, and we like to taste together because I think it makes our wines better for the consumers because it's not just one person making all of the decisions. We're making it together as a team. And when we open a bottle of
Hmm.
wine, we try to taste by ourselves quietly, and then we open it up because a lot of times they'll go, no, 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 don't lead the witness. And so we'll want to like have our own personal thoughts that we can bring to the table.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many people are on staff at
Well, my
Markham?
winemaking team composes of my assistant winemaker and my enologist, who's my chemist. So the three of us, and then my cellar master is involved as well if he wants to at any point. So the four of us will taste and make decisions.
Wow.
What does the job of a cellar master do? I don't
It
even
sounds
know.
ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have 6,000 barrels here at the winery. So he has to manage all of that. Um, when we decide, our blends that we're putting together. So right now we're really in our blending and bottling season. We're actually not bottling today. Otherwise it would be too loud here in my office. But when we're doing that, I will put together the blends and he will make it happen with our cellar team. We have to top barrels on a monthly basis. When you have so many barrels and you have wine in them, he'll bring the barrels down and he'll top them. And, we tend to call him the boss. I mean, he's very bossy. And so, my cellar master, pretty much tells me what he needs. And I feel like I should be doing it, but I'm happy to have someone tell me what to do.
Awesome.
Sounds like everybody needs a cellar master in their life.
I guess. I don't know. That's really cool. I've never like had anybody explain it. So I mean, I'm sure I've like watched stuff when I've watched wine documentaries and things like that, but I haven't had anybody explain the actual job description.
Six
Yeah,
thousand barrels.
it's a few. I know.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of barrels.
And he
Well,
has to watch all of
he's
them
got a team.
to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's got a team too. Wow.
That's
So,
amazing.
Okay.
so our production
a
team is including myself. I believe we're about 12 people.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that always kind of amazes me when we talk to these wineries too. You think that it's going to be like a 30, 40 person job or something, and then you find out it's not a massive team at most of them. And I don't know. I think it's because like I guess you don't need as many people as you think. I mean, you need people, but not
You know,
40 people. I don't know. Because when you need most of the people, it's when you do the harvesting. That's
exactly.
when you
We
bring in
bring
the
in
extra
people
people, right?
then, and you know,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of us have very well organized and thought out facilities. You know, granted, our facility's old, and we, you know, when they rebuilt around the old stone cellar, you know, you kind of take these processes into account. So, like outside my office window, you know, is the crush pad, and the wine, you know, the grapes come in to be fermented, and then they go on to barrels, and then they come back out to be blended, and then into the bottling line, which is below me here at the winery. So it's kind of, it is a process.
Okay.
It's a dance. It's a dance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's kind of a timing for everything. When you know, make wine, you know that, you know, you're probably going to be bottling, you know, Cabernet that you have in front of you, or the cab that you had in January. And then I know that May, I usually call Merlot, is bottled in the month of May. So that's when we're typically doing that. And then, you know, doing the Chardonnay, usually we do the Chardonnay bottling, you know, in July or August.
Okay. So, you yourself personally, and I guess your husband too, do y'all drink mostly Markham, or do
Oh
you
gosh,
drink
am I
other
supposed to say
wines
that out
too?
loud? I don't.
Oh, I think you can.
Of course, we drink a lot of Markham, but we do drink other wines as well, for sure. You cannot keep me away from a good bottle of bubbles. So I like bubbles. I
Oh
like
yeah.
rosé. My husband loves Sauvignon Blanc. So yeah, we like all of it.
What's your go-to bubbles?
Well, I will drink anything French for the most part. But we have a sister winery up in Oregon called Argyle. So, you know, that's easy. That's very easy for me to come by. I love that too.
I just tried
Argyle, yeah.
Argyle. Yes.
Yeah, Argyle. I tried their
Nice.
bubbles last week.
Delish.
Yes, really,
Yeah.
really nice. Really nice.
We're
Yeah,
big bubbles
yeah, we
people
love
too.
bubbles.
Yeah.
We're always looking for a good bubble.
Yeah.
So, well, cool.
So tell us, what do you see coming on the future for wine and winemaking, and
Yeah.
kind of what do you kind of forecast? Where do you see the industry and just that world kind of going and trending
You
and
feel
stuff?
like it's changing?
Yeah.
I mean,
30
it's always
years. Lots
changing, I guess.
changed. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Markham as a whole will continue. I mean, I started here and we were making two Merlots. And then, you know, 3 years ago, I found I'm making, you know, 5 or 6 Merlot blends. And this year I will make and or release like 14 Merlot blends. So Merlot is a huge part of our future. I mean,
Wow.
it's not something that we're shying away from. We believe in it. We love it.
Wow.
But it's difficult because, you know, here, you know, a lot of people are pulling out older vines and they're putting Cabernet back in. So, you know, we're trying to be like rah rah Merlot, so that we can, you know, continue to make it. I think what's fun for me and my staff here, even if it doesn't all make it out to maybe where you're at, we do a lot of cool, fun stuff in house, and that's it makes it fun for the team. But at the same time, we still have the big bottlings like the Merlot, like the Cab, like the Chardonnay, like the Sauvignon Blanc. Those are big bottlings for us here. Um, and so, you know, doing the little things that we do for the tasting room, like I wear cowboy boots a lot during harvest because, you know, I never know what I'm going to meet in the vineyard. And so that protects my ankles. And so we released a wine called Blue Boots just for our tasting room here. And our label, the Cannoneer,
Cute.
had blue boots on. So I think doing more of like those kind of fun things is exciting for us. We make only, kind of available here in what we call our, direct to consumer DTC tasting room. We do a lot of those kind of things where we're just exploring different appellations, which are like kind of little semi regions here in Napa that have kind of distinct soil and climate with them, so that the varietal, like I was telling you, where the Merlot tastes like, raspberries and Carnero. So we're doing some of those bottlings so people can, see what that tastes like as an individual varietal. And so I think just kind of looking to see what consumers like, because we certainly, like years ago when I started, being able to afford to go out to a fine dining, I realized that people were so connected to the food and where it was grown, and they were, writing those on the menus. So that's kind of where we've gone, moving forward, looking, with our sustainability and trying to really, list the names of the growers on the bottles and doing more single vineyard designates, so to speak. Here we call them marked parcels, but yeah, just having fun. Always.
That's what it's all about, having fun.
Yeah. Very cool. And wine is very fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Sounds like you need to come visit.
We do need. We're
So like we started our whole thing, Instagram, all that. We started that like literally like 2 months before the pandemic hit. And, obviously everything kind of shut down. And we were like, if we're going to ever do California and Napa, we want to wait till it's like completely over. You know what I mean? Because we want to experience how it is normally experienced. So, because we were even going around to vineyards in Georgia during that time, because that was like all you could do is hang out outside. And a lot of them, they would give you the wine to go and you'd hang out outside and everything like that. But, we did a lot of that, but we've always wanted to come visit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've met so many people in the industry in California, and like, it's just, we need to go. Yeah, for sure.
Well, we appreciate your time so much and telling us about Markham, and everybody check out Markham Vineyards, try their wine.
Try the Merlot.
Yeah, I mean, the Merlot.
It's so good.
Yeah. We love your wine. We appreciate you so much,
TJ.
Kim. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah.
Oh, say where they can find them on on the social medias.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Markham
Vineyards. Yeah.
Markham Vineyards, right?
You can find us on Facebook and
Facebook
Instagram.
and Instagram.
100%. All right.
Yep. And we'll tag you all too, so don't worry about it. We'll tag you so they can find you. So.
Yes.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, Kim.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Bye.
Thank you so much.